Welcome, class. At this section, we are going to look at some of the repeated topic in JAMB or even WASE. So it's a topic that is a must-know for anybody that wants to write UTME or WASE or even NECO for any exam. Now, the topic is Nigerian federalism. Often in exam, we always test you on your knowledge of Nigerian federalism. Now, first, let's know what federalism is all about. Now, federalism is a system of government in which governmental powers are constitutionally shared between the central government, that's the national government, and the component units. So this is a kind of system where you have decentralization of powers. The Constitution distributes powers between what we call the central or federal government and what we call the component units or regions. In other words, such constitution recognizes levels of government, as the case in Nigeria, where you have 3 levels of government. You have the federal government, you have the state government, you have the local government. The state government and local government constitute the component units, while the federal government constitutes the central government. Now, this is the system of government practiced in Nigeria. Now, the Nigerian federalism has a history. We're going to look at the history. Now, let's look at what we call the evolution of Nigerian federalism. Now, Nigerian federalism started at a point when we achieved what we call unity in diversity. And that unity in diversity was achieved in 1914 when the Northern Protectorate and the Southern and the Colony of Lagos, Southern Protectorate and Colony of Lagos was amalgamated by Governor Lord Lugard. And that was when our country as Nigeria started. Became a country at this point. And that was when all these people that make up where we call Nigeria today, that was when they were formally brought together as a country. And that was when that unity in diversity was achieved. Remember, to federate is to unite. And what you unite peculiarly in a federation is something that is diverse. So it was achieved at this point. Now, the next step in the evolution of Nigerian federalism was achieved in 1946 Constitution of Arthur Richard. What did the 1946 Constitution do? The Constitution set up what we call a central legislative council for the whole country. For the first time, we had a legislative council where we have Northerners and Southerners. The Clifford Constitution of 1922, the legislative council he created did not have the North. The Northerners were excluded from that legislative council. So it was actually not a national legislature. So it was in 1946 that Arthur Richard, through his constitution, unified Nigerians under one central legislative council. He didn't stop there. He then laid the foundation of Nigerian federalism by dividing Nigeria into 3 regions: the North, the East, and the West. So these were the 3 regions. And he didn't stop there. To actually, create room for federalism in Nigeria, the Constitution went on and created houses of assembly for each of the regions. So we had the Eastern House of Assembly, we had the Northern House of Assembly, we also had the Western House of Assembly. So these are the things Arthur Richard's Constitution did for Nigerian federalism. Then when we had the Macpherson Constitution of 1951, Macpherson Constitution concreted the efforts of Richard's Constitution towards federalism in Nigeria by 1. He introduced revenue allocation, which is one of the critical part of a federation. There must be a method of revenue allocation. So revenue allocation method was introduced first in Nigerian history in 1946 Macpherson Constitution. And didn't stop there. And the regional governments, that the regional houses of assembly, we are given the powers this time to make laws. That is why this constitution, in this constitution, we achieved what we call regional autonomy, because the regions were not autonomous in Richard's constitution. They didn't have that mandate to make laws on their own. But in the Macpherson constitution, the regions were mandated to make laws on matters that affect them peculiarly, though it must go through the approval of the central legislature, which is by this constitution called the House of Representatives. And also, even to concrete that effort towards federalism, the House of Representatives was expanded from 44 in Richard's constitution to 140 something members. So it was an expansion, which in a federal system of government, you must have larger representative to represent all the sectors, all the sects in the country. Then, in 1954, of Littleton Constitution of 1954, we had a constitution that pronounced Nigeria a full-fledged federal system of government through power sharing. Now, the Constitution shared federal powers into the exclusive legislative list. The exclusive list was the domain of the federal government. Matters that only the federal government can legislate. They are called a federal concern. The regional government has nothing to do with these matters. Then we had a concurrent list. The concurrent list are matters that both the federal government and the regional government can attend to. They can make laws on these matters. Then we had the residual list. The residual list constitute matters that only the regional government can legislate on. There are matters that concern only the regional government. The Constitution did not stop there. The Constitution went on and regionalized the public service. That is, each region had its own public service. The federal government had its own public service. It also went on and regionalized the judiciary. Each region had its own judiciary. The central government equally had its own judiciary. Of course, the regions were given greater autonomy this time in law-making process. So this was how federalism in Nigeria was achieved. Now, in unfolding of this federalism, in 1963, an attempt was made on the federal structure of Nigeria by creating, through the Republican Constitution of 1963, the third region. Nigeria moved from a federation of 3 regions to a federation of 4 regions when the Midwestern region was created. So we had a federal government, we had 4 regions in Nigeria then. And then Nigerian Federation from 1960, the legislature became bicameral. The National Assembly became bicameral, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, Nigerian federalism, an attempt was made to terminate federalism in Nigeria in 1966 by their first military head of state, General J.T.U. Aguiyi-Ironsi, through his unification decree. He actually abolished the 4 regions and replaced with them provinces. That was when federalism an attempt was made to abolish Nigerian federalism. But when Aguiyi-Ironsi was assassinated and Gowon took over, Gowon reestablished the 4 regions. He went ahead in 1967 to move Nigeria from Federation of Regions to states by creating the first 12 states of the Federation in 1967. Then, in 1976, Murtala Mohammed created more states to make it 19. That is, he created additional states, 7 states, to make it 19 states. Then we continued with this until Babangida, who was the head of state of Nigeria, from 1985 to 1983, created more states, 11 states, to make it 30 states. Then Nigeria continued with that 30 states till Abacha increased it to 36 states by creating 6 states. So this is how, and this 36 states is what we practice till today. And Nigeria Federation today has a federation of, we have the central government, we have the 36 states of the federation, the FCT, and we have 774 local government areas. So this is the structure of Nigerian federalism, and this is how Nigerian federalism unfolded from 1914 to 1954, and also developed gradually again till this point. Now, let's look at the features of Nigerian federalism. Nigerian federalism has different features. One is that the constitution of Nigerian federalism is written and rigid. Written and rigid in the sense that the constitution is in a single document, and the constitution is difficult to amend. In this constitution, the police is a federal concern. We don't have state police like other states, like United States of America, American federalism. We don't have state police. The police is a federal concern. Nigeria federalism, we have bicameral legislature. The legislature is bicameral. That is, the National Assembly has both, we have the Senate, and also we have the House of Representatives. Another feature of Nigerian federalism is that the central government is superior to the state government. That is, in any case, especially in the concurrent list, where the central government and the state have joint power, wherever their policies or law clashes, that of the central government must preside. So that is why we say that in our federalism, the central government is superior to the state government. Now, we also have the problems of Nigerian federalism. Nigerian federalism has different problems. We have problem of revenue allocation. We don't have any generally acceptable revenue allocation formula. We have the problem of mutual mistrust among different ethnic groups and sects that make up the federation. We also have over-concentration of powers at the central government. The central government has a lot on that exclusive legislative list. We also have insurgency and terrorism as one of the current problems of Nigerian Federation. We also have the problem of federal character that says that appointment and recruitment into any federal establishment must reflect the diversity of the country. Actually, this undermines meritocracy in our country. Then we have also census crisis. Most censuses conducted in this country have been rife with crisis and have not been generally accepted by Nigerians. Some people cry of the eyes. Another problem, we have the problem of lack of free and fair elections. Most elections in Nigeria are rife with irregularities in the country. It's also part of the problems of Nigerian federalism. We also have problem of state creation. If you look at it, these geopolitical zones, some zones especially, we have a zone that has 5 states only. We have a zone that has 7 states. Some zones feel that they need more states. And most zones in Nigeria are clamoring for more states. So it's a problem to our federation. We also have the problem of threat of secession. We have some part or a part of the country threatening to pull out of the country. Of course, our federation prohibits secession, but it has always, the threat to secede has always been there in Nigeria, especially from the time of the Civil War. So these are the problems of Nigerian federation. So always prepare yourself for Nigerian federalism whenever you are preparing for any external examination like UTME, WASE, and NECO. Thank you very much.